Hello everyone, hope you are having a wonderful Thursday or Friday depending on when I actually finish recording, editing the video, the full works, but either way you'll be seeing it on the first week of February, so we've made it into the second month of the year, so congrats to you. And just following up with what the actual video is about, I'm going to be discussing the title that you see here, which is that old school conservative values, traditionalism, call it what you will, have pushed society or individuals within our society to a more liberal outlook on life in terms of not only how they think or how they dress, how they behave, and how they've decided to pursue their lives in general. I believe they've been pushed into this, and there had been a lack of accountability and acknowledgement from the conservative side of things. And I don't mean political party, by the way, so if you want to discuss that, go on somebody else's channel. This is not here for that. I mean more so the values that someone holds. I'm going to start this video off with some definitions as well, just so we know what we're talking about and we're here on the same page and understand each other and where we're coming from. So first definition, the conservative, averse to change or innovation and holding traditional values. So synonyms for the word as well are traditional, conventional, stable, cautious, set in one's ways and unchanging. And the definition of liberal in this case is willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own, open to new ideas. That's what the word liberal means. Free, right? The term itself. So synonyms for this term would also be tolerant, broad-minded, open-minded, impartial, free, and one that I found somewhat funny, which is why I'm including in this, free and easy. So if I say I'm liberal, I'm saying why? I don't know why this is one of the synonyms, but it's there, so thanks Google, I guess. Now going back to the entire point of this video as a whole, why am I saying that conservatives would be pushing a liberal society? How does that make any sense when they are the ones, if you will, encouraging structure, encouraging a black and white form of thinking mostly. It's either right or it's wrong, encouraging people, for example, to follow faith or religion typically as well, to hold themselves accountable, and so on and so forth. You could be a religious or a non-religious conservative. There is a lot of diversity, if you will, within the pool. However, in today's world, we just brush them, or should I say paint them under one brush and just have no conversation as to that group as a whole, which I find a bit odd. However, just going to the group as a collective as a whole, their structure, their rigidity, their inability to be flexible is what led a lot of people to say, I feel unnoticed, unseen. I feel like, for example, I didn't experience justice. Despite the fact that, I'm going to use the church in this example, we believe that God is fair and just. Why didn't I get my justice? Why didn't I get my wages, my fair and equal treatment, you name it, whatever it is that they felt isolated, may have even come back to religious institutions or the authority they were raised to respect, got neglected, disrespected, and cast to the side, made their own communities elsewhere, and eventually grew in number and power to what we have today. So it's very peculiar for me how they do not see this. I remember there was this one young girl in my Catholic school who fell pregnant, and it wasn't only the peers or the fellow classmates who made her life very difficult. It also included the staff as well, who were making remarks to her conduct, to her intention, what kind of person she is. So in her time of greatest need and distress, instead of assisting her and helping her and guiding her, she was mocked, belittled, and cast out. Now, if you ask a liberal, they would agree with these sentiments. They'll tell you, yes, this is the sort of thing they do, and this is what they're known for. And a lot of liberals today, or even some of the agnostics and atheists I used to know growing up, came from religious homes. So they didn't just wake up one day and just decide to abandon their faith. That would be weird. If you do address this concern, sometimes you either get met with silence, told to pray about it, or told that Satan got involved in their misery and their detachment from the church itself. The issue with this kind of thinking is that there is no accountability for the collective, because the idea is that if you are sick, pray about it. If you're alone, pray about it. If you made a mistake, pray pray about it. And if you did anything wrong, it may or may not be your fault depending on how the story is told. But it could be either you or this demonic figure that has led you to make those decisions or let those bad things happen to you, so that the people involved in creating these horrible scenarios or situations never actually get set to trial. So a lot of people grew up in such an environment and decided, hey, I want to be elsewhere, or alternatively got kicked out, ostracized, shamed, ridiculed, and in extreme cases, if we're going to go there, unalived for being different. So that's what conservatism was popularly known for. In addition, if conservative society took over, it was typically only under the conditions of poverty and warfare by force. That's usually when a conservative society takes power, after a liberal society has existed. Yes, that's right. This is not the first time we've had a liberal society. We've had them in the past. However, usually when they get wiped out, the first thing that happens is their literature, their books, their arts, their opinions all get erased from history, burnt, if you will. We did not have the technology we have today, quite obviously, so it's very hard to find information, but it does exist. There are societies that definitely did exist that were a bit more liberal in their thinking and opinions, but usually when some form of extremism takes over, or conservatism that was moderate, it quickly turns into extremism, and then the cycle starts again. The idea for this video is not to ambush people, ridicule them, or make them feel bad for their political views or opinions, irrespective of what they are and what they look like. And I'm talking phenotypically speaking, because just by how I look like, I'm supposed to be a liberal, and let's say I was a white male, I should be a conservative. But you quickly realize in today's society, there's no such thing anymore, and it hasn't been like that for quite some time. Even the terms themselves have been redefined, as by the looks of it, our liberal society has become a bit more conservative itself, as in it's trying to maintain and sustain its power in our current day and age by shutting down any opposing viewpoints and perspectives. Once again, this doesn't mean a liberal society is bad, because without it, for example, there wouldn't have been a platform for the likes of me. I would not be making this video, I would not be sharing my opinions, I would not be pursuing my interests and the like. Once again, to just go back to what I had just mentioned briefly there, our conservative society created our liberal society today, and I would not be surprised if our liberal society today in its extremes creates a very conservative society that they were afraid of. One way of avoiding or creating a scenario where we can avoid the extreme is by continuously having open dialogue, even with people that we do not necessarily like or agree with. And there's a lot of people like that in my life. Do I always want to be around them? Not really, no, to be honest. Do they probably feel the same way about me? Most likely, but I tend to always have a very neutral position. I tend to try and be impartial in my opinions, even if I've had personal experiences with certain topics, because I want the best solution possible as opposed to what makes me feel good in the moment. Feelings are valid, and people who claim that feelings are not involved in decision making, irrespective of political or cultural viewpoints, are lying to you and I. Thank you and have a good day.